So again, how do we differentiate? Let's talk about some points of differentiation where we can shatter those stereotypes. So being on time. It's hard to be on time every time. I'm okay with running up to 10 minutes behind in my clinic. I have no problem with that. But I hate being any more than that. It drives me nuts because I know this, right? I know this is what I'm doing. I'm injuring my experience and I don't need to. I know this is going to cost me, not today, but next year it will definitely, this stuff will play out over time, right? So being on time, engineer your schedule to avoid disruption. How do we do that? The whole clinical efficiency module in the online platform, this is what it's all about. Creating those strategic processes so that you don't run behind. How can I see more patients and continue to grow my practice without scrambling? Because I don't like to scramble. I like to have my typical pace. If I have to run, and I've done, I mean, you guys have seen me literally running around the clinic. Like, I don't want to do that. That's not my thing. We engineered that away a long time ago. I used to run, literally run, because it's huge, right? There's 7,000 square feet, and sometimes you're doing, like, I used to have a hygiene check in 1, and then 17, and then back to 10, and it was like, oh my God, like, are you kidding me? So we engineered all this away. Now it's very straightforward. I have this particular area, I have this particular process, I can see as many people as I feel like seeing, and it doesn't get me behind. But that's strategic. It took a time to build that. So all those processes you're getting in those modules. So you can't run late and then jump on them if they're late, right? You can't scold them for being 20 minutes late. Well, I don't know, I'll check with the doctor to see if he can still see you. But last time I was here, I waited an hour. So that's, the patient's not going to be happy with that. You can't do that. So it's either all or none, right? So if you're on time, your patients will be. You'll train them, right? If they know, like my patients know, if there's 2 appointments and they're close, they won't duff mine. They know that they can get in and get out and still go to the next appointment. If you're variable in whether you're running on time or behind, then you become on that potential chopping block, right? I don't have time to do both, so I'll skip the dentist because I don't like the dentist anyway, right? Nobody really wants to go. So you're already you got an uphill battle because they already don't want to go to the dentist. So again, model the behavior you want even with your employees. So if you show up late to the office every day, then you can't really get mad if the employees show up late, right? So I'm only in the clinic 2 days a week, but on those 2 days I'm in there at 8 o'clock sharp or before, and I model with the people that work directly with me anyway what I expect. I can't let people see me doing, like, you can't do what I say, not what I do. Just like your kids, right? Try that with your kids and you're dead. All right. So again, give them exactly what they want. Listen to the patient, find out what they actually want. If you do, people will tell you. They will send you cues. They might even verbalize it. If you can give them exactly what they want, you're halfway there. Patients will show up and pay for what they want, not what you want or what you want them to have. Again, they will not show up or pay for treatment they don't want, that they fear, that they can't afford, can't fit into their schedule, and from a doctor they don't trust. So if you get all of this wrong, case acceptance is pretty close to 0. And you never come across wanting to do treatment more than they do. This is all really addressed head-on in case acceptance in the Academy platform and the live event that goes with that. So you can dig into that in depth there. And again, never assume that they want what you have to offer. So just because you're trained to do all of this doesn't mean the patient actually wants it. So you have to listen. And again, this is a big deal because you frequently will, I'll hear, usually it's a new dentist in the office, sometimes new hygienist in the office, and I mean new like out of school, extremely excited about dentistry, very proud of what they know, and they'll want to sit there and just talk to the patient over the patient, and the patient can't get a word in about all the things that they know and all the things they see and all the things that the patient should have, but they haven't actually listened to what the patient wants. So you can push people away that way. Give them an exact cost of services. So like I mentioned, I have this person in our office who actually does insurance breakdowns. It drives me nuts that I have to do that, but I can give them a very close number, which makes people really happy. So again, don't ever change the fee after the fact. This is another big one. I see this with new dentists all the time. So when you get an associate, this is a conversation you have to have. We don't change the fee after the fact. If we goofed on the front end, we underplanned the case, and now the fee's higher, you can't surprise the patient with a higher fee. You're going to eat that, and you're going to make sure you don't goof that next time. Okay? Because otherwise what happens is, you never want to surprise a person. Like you get up to the cash and you have something in your hand that says $50. I get to the register, oh, sorry, it's $75. Right? This is like Venezuela, right? By the time they pick something off the shelf, poor guys, the inflation is going so fast to get to the cash, the price has gone up. I'm not even joking, this is true. So there's communism for you. But anyway, I'd always rather be a hero and surprise them with a lower fee. They always love that. Patient never complains about charging them less than they expected. So we'll always over budget the plan. Like when we talk about case acceptance in the treatment coordinator process, we talk about building up the fee a little bit, guess a little higher, round up a little, so that when it comes time to pay the bill, it's lower than they expected, or at least it's the same. So again, I will routinely, if I miss something, if I goof something, I didn't see something I should have, I won't charge the patient. I won't even bother. I'll just tell them, hey, look, there's this one thing right here. Can I do that for you? No charge. I'll just do it. Next time I'll smarten up and make sure I check even more closely. If that was my fault, if I had them sign a financial agreement, everything's in writing, I don't want to change it because now I look stupid. So again, just think about it from the patient's perspective. What would they perceive in this case, right? So offer interest-free financing, third-party financing. Everybody wants this. Everything's on payments. People are now trained to look at, can I afford something or not based on what's the payment, which is crazy. But if you look at how many new vehicles are being sold, they're all sold based on payments, right? It's like $90 a week. Great. Buy a new truck. Like I think right now I have the oldest truck in my parking lot. It's crazy. Everybody's like, as soon as they get a job, they buy a house and they buy a new vehicle. Like immediately, which is like the worst thing you can do. But that's what people are thinking. So offer financing, because if you give the person the option of, okay, your case is $20,000 or it's, whatever, $500 a month or $150 a week or whatever, yeah, it helps a lot. I wouldn't have guessed how much financing we do until I dug into these statistics. Looking at it, there's an incredible amount of people that we're getting because of financing options. Like they're saying yes because of financing. So again, people look at the payment against their budget and they decide yes or no. So if you have tight financial controls, internal financing is okay. Like you can finance them yourself, but get it in writing before you do that. So if you're in the, if you think, well, I'll just finance it ourselves. If it's a long-time patient, I don't mind doing that. I'll give them a 3-pay or something like that. If it's a newer patient, we always make sure they go to the third party. Again, this is another big one, making the new patient calls and the post-op calls. I have a staff member make the post-op calls. The doctor ultimately should do it. I will. This is one of those times where I'm going to tell you, do what I say, not what I do, because it's a lot of patients. I do see a ton of people. If you've been in, who's been in my clinic and actually seen me working? A few people? Yeah, you guys have been up there a few times. So when you see the number of people in the schedule, it would take me another hour and a half to make all the calls. So I have someone do that the next morning and just very simply scripted post-op calls for anyone who had anesthesia. New patient calls. If you have new patients that don't show up in your office, if that's ever happening to you with any consistency, if you call the patient, you've heard this before, if you call the patient and just say, hey, I was looking at your file, I just want to make sure you didn't have any questions about your visit tomorrow, they will always show up. So doctor calls, for sure. I have had this, again, I would do this by team now, saying, Dr. Biasucci asked me to follow up with you because reviewing your file. It's still great to have that. It's not the same as a doctor doing it. So if it's a problem for you, do it. I don't really have that problem. We're having typically more patients than we can see show up to the office, so I don't do that right now. But I would recommend if that was a problem for you to do it. You just have to do it. It's one of those things you just have to do. Okay, anesthesia, I think we're all pretty good at it at this point, but I really do like the wand. If the person feels it, they feel it. Even if they, by every measure, they should be numb. If they say they feel it, they feel it. Most of the times it could even be psychological, but most of the times if they feel it, they believe it, So I like the wand. I'm a big fan of the wand. I teach it in the clinical efficiency section. If you're looking for something to try, this is one. Obviously, good topical and such. I like Articaine for just about everything except for blocks if you're in Ontario because the college is crazy. But with Articaine, you can infiltrate just about everything. So again, I don't hesitate to do a PDL or intraosseous or something like that. I want the person numb because if they don't feel it, again, I'm back to the experience. They expect it to hurt. I'll take extra time to freeze. I'll wait a little longer to freeze. And then we don't have that problem. If you ask, if we surveyed the entire patient base of all my 15 years, how many times has something actually hurt? It's very low. And I'm sure many of you have the same experience, so you understand the value of that, right? Your patients expect it. If they never have an experience where it hurts, you've shattered a stereotype. I give everyone that doesn't have coverage for it free nitrous. I don't even charge for it. We got great big tanks. If they're even slightly anxious, I offer it to everybody. Why? Because again, it shatters a stereotype. They're a little anxious, but they can probably stick it out. Oh, no problem. Try the nitrous. It's great. Because to me, it's better compliance, less gagging, faster passage of time, so they perceive the time to pass faster. They have higher pain tolerance and overall better experience. Shattering stereotypes, right? That's what these things are for. Yeah, it costs money, but if I can do the work that I couldn't have done otherwise, fantastic. If I don't have to now bring them back for another visit because they were so nervous they couldn't get numb, right? Which is not often the case, it's just they were nervous. A lot of times if we pull out the nitrous on a person and we can get them comfortable, that takes care of it. That's just what you needed to kind of get them over the hump. Plus, if it's the first time, they love going back to work, talking about it and telling everybody. So audio and visual distractions. We got TVs in the ceiling. Instead of them staring at the ceiling tile, they're watching TV. They could pick the show, and off they go, right? So TV in the ceiling, headphones available, comfort menu. We have literally a menu, looks like a menu in a restaurant, that they can look at, open up, fill out if they want certain things. For every appointment, just this appointment, right? You can see these examples in the clinical efficiency. And then don't nickel and dime people. So I don't charge for consultations. If there's any debate as to whether we're charging for it or not, I don't worry about it because I'll get it back, right? The last thing you want to do is have a patient paying for something they don't think they should be paying for. Now, it doesn't mean I say don't charge for things or undercharge for things. I will absolutely charge exactly what the case is worth, but I don't create barriers to entry, if that makes sense. Again, I don't charge for post-ops. I don't charge to adjust somebody else's work. Even if it's an emergency non-patient, I typically will just do it as a courtesy because I'm trying to get them as a patient, and I will. Again, shattering stereotypes, right? So no one will refer to our office in our community, nobody. It doesn't matter that we have 5 specialties. No one will refer to us. Why? Because we shatter those stereotypes to the point where they know if the patient comes to us, they ain't coming back. And that's great. I love that. I don't need the referrals. I need the experience. I can live without the referrals because I'll get them anyway. I can't live without the experience because then they will leave. There's no value in having them come to you and then out the back door, right? So you have to be shattering those experiences to the point where people will come to you and then they're in. Once they're there, you got them, right? There's a couple little surgery tips that I put in there. This is up to you whether you think you want to do this or not, but injectable steroids for any significant surgery, kind of nice. Chlorhexidine, gluma for fillings, clean the prep and do all these extra things. The person never has sensitivity after you do a filling. That's great. Person have sensitivity, not so great. Because what do they do if they have no sensitivity, if they had to have a filling done? They don't tell anybody, right? They might go back to work and be a little numb, and that's fine. But if they have had work done and it's sensitive, they tell everybody for weeks until it goes away. And you adjust the bite and all these things, and it doesn't seem to work. So think about these as options too. It takes an extra 30 seconds, gets rid of sensitivity. I like to pull these mouth props out if there's any issues at all. And sometimes, if there's even more than a small amount of work to be done, people get tired. It's hard to hold your mouth open. Even I find when I get my teeth cleaned, I find it kind of hard to hold my mouth open the whole time. Mouth props, just pull them out. The soft ones are nicer, more comfortable. With kids, it's a no-brainer. I typically always do that. So long procedures, so they can watch TV and relax. If they're on nitrous, I always do that because they tend to have a hard time staying open. And if you're getting irritated, asking them to keep opening. Boom, mouth prop, quick. Because it's just, and they'll appreciate it. It's not like, you think it's annoying for them. Not really. If you ask people after, it's actually more comfortable because I just have to think about it. And you can work much faster, so you're just getting the procedure done quickly. Another big thing is I don't leave patients alone in the treatment room. So even though I'm seeing at least 2 columns in a day, so I'm moving between 3 rooms pretty efficiently all day. I don't leave patients alone. So someone always stays with them when there's no doctor in the room. So backup assistant or somebody, or we'll grab someone to go and sit with them for a few minutes. I don't want the patient staring at the window because it makes the passage of time slow right down almost into reverse, and now we're not shattering the stereotype, we're part of it. This one actually is, where's Centrum? Where are you guys hiding? This one is yours. You guys told me about this last workshop. I like it. So every day you guys have fresh flowers in the office, as I understand, and every day you pick someone to send them home with. I think that's a great idea. Okay, we've stolen your idea. It's fantastic. Every day have a staff member who interacts, every staff member who interacts with the patients send one handwritten thank you note home. What does it take for a hygienist who's seen a whole schedule full of patients to write one quick handwritten note? Hey, Mrs. Jones, it was great to see you. Please bring pictures of your vacation. Look forward to seeing you on your next visit. And just mail that out. It takes 2 seconds. But the importance of that is it just adds that personal touch. Again, shattering stereotypes. Personal notes on the setup sheets. You guys have should have, well, not all of you guys, but most of you guys have seen the setup sheet process in the clinical efficiency section, right? We talk about the actual sheets per procedure, color-coded to the bins and all of that. Well, those sheets end up behind me in an operatory. And I turn around and the bottom line of the sheet is personal notes about the patient. Loves dogs, has 2 kids, ages whatever, just went on vacation, so on and so on. And I can turn around very quickly and know a few things about the patient. Helps me to just keep the thing going. When you're running at speed, if you do these things, you can still run at speed and deliver an awesome experience because now, the dentist remembered that. I don't have time to stop at a computer and look at their notes. There's no chance. If I were going to do that, I would run way behind. So all of these things, if the team can set you up, it's like you're just running all day, but everyone's just setting you up for success. So it doesn't matter how quickly you're moving. Again, the comfort menu we talked about, birthday cards for every patient over 4. I love these. There's many ways you can do this. You can automate it. You can use child labor as we have in the past. So someone's kids in the office, right, can do these at home, print the patient list for 2 months out whose birthdays are coming up, and just get them to do it. I used to have them handwrite these and actually sign people's names and even sign my name in there. And patients thought it was great. Wow, my dentist sends me a handwritten card for my birthday. And we'd stuff it with a little gift card. And, right? Great thing. So again, VIP list segmentation is something that we can do, which we are going to do with you. I'm going to talk about probably tomorrow morning some of the technology that we're going to be implementing with you guys after this workshop, immediately following actually. One of them is going to be this, VIP list segmentation. Who are your best patients? So you know that 20% of your patients are responsible for 80% of your revenue, 20% are responsible for 80% of your referrals, right? 80-20 principle. Well, who are these people? Can we pull them out of your database? If we can pull them out of your database, can we treat them differently? Right? Of course. That's a key principle in marketing is don't treat them all the same. If you have a $10,000 budget, you don't spend $2 for every patient. You spend the majority of it on your VIPs, your top 20%, and a bit on the rest so they don't feel neglected. Because you're going to get much further spending it on the people who have already proven that they can refer, who already accept treatment, and so on. So that's where I like to spend my energy. And so we'll segment that list out with you. Actually, one of the platforms we're going to be giving you after this workshop will allow you to click a button and pull out the list of who's spent over X amount of dollars with you, which is great. You can plug them right into another system, which will allow you to track and manage them. Birthday gifts. So what do you do with these guys? Send them a birthday gift. Send them a referral gift. Send them a quarterly gift if you want to. You can really go nuts on this because it's a small number of people. If you have 1,000 patients, this will be 200 people. Right? If you have 10,000 patients, it's 2,000 people. It's not as big a number as the whole base. So these can also be leveled up, like referral gift. For one referral, they might get something. For 2 referrals, they might get something else. And so you can really play with this to incentivize the kind of behavior that you want. I love this. This is great. Again, events. So patient appreciation events, little smiles events, seminars if you'd like to do that kind of thing. Publishing content and having it everywhere. This is why, again, we give you the free reports and the book and all of that stuff. Is again, it differentiates you because you're now the conduit of information to your people, your patient base, your community about dentistry. So free reports, books, fact sheets, the before-after book, all these things you get. And then every patient leaves with something with your logo on it, okay? This is the Disney principle. I want to figure out how I can get something into their house and keep it there. Mugs are great. Pens are great. Lip balm, not bad. Gets thrown away eventually. Books, nobody throws out books, right? So I'm constantly giving them stuff like ice scrapers and toques and T-shirts and like everything we can come up with. We just create something new every couple months or every quarter, print 1,000 of them, and every hygiene bag, stuff them, right? So that it's hard to get away from you. We've given away, I don't know, probably, what do you think, Christine? How many T-shirts do you think we've printed over the years? They're all over the city, I know. I go to pick up my daughter Allison at the Montessori school, and there will almost always be at least 2 kids wearing our T-shirts. It's like you can't beat that, right?
Even at the grocery stores across the river.
Well, you've seen the orders for a long time. How many do you think we've ordered? Like 1,000, 2,000?
No, way more.
Okay. So
I'm ordering them like probably 1,000 at a time.
right, okay. And for years we've been doing this. So I'm probably about 10,000 T-shirts or more. Okay, there's
That's
only
right.
70,000 people in town. Like I've given away almost everybody should have one by now. Okay, and you think it's crazy, it's so expensive, but like it's hard to argue with everybody has them, and they don't throw them out. They might wear them as a pajama, I don't care. You're not forgetting about us, right? We're in there, you can't get rid of us. So think of things that are, appropriate for the time of year, like an umbrella for April is something we do. I've given away flower seeds, sunscreen, anything you could think of. We get this stuff for, was it 4imprint that we were buying this stuff from? There's lots of places online you can get these things, but they're a Canadian company, so they're easy for us to deal with. There's lots and lots of them. There's even more in the US, so if you're in the States, there's tons of places you can buy this from. Again, it's give them a reason to talk about you. And if you're shattering stereotypes in the process, when they talk about you, they have lots to say.